Lucasfilm just announced a very exciting new Star Wars game called Fate of the Old Republic, which I am certain will enter production and become available for sale to the general public in a reasonable time frame. Remember Star Wars Eclipse and the KOTOR remake? Yeah, me neither. But in this trailer was a very interesting derelict starship, a Sith Interdictor class cruiser. So in celebration of this definitely real game that will be released within our lifetimes, let's take a look at this ancient ship. I'm Joey from Radio Free Coruscant, and this is the Sith Interdictor. Design. The Republic Scinar Systems Interdictor-class cruiser was a somewhat unusual capital ship design. Its main hull consisted of upper and lower halves connected at the rear in a sort of crab claw shape. Also at the rear of the ship were its 3 main engines and 4 auxiliary thrusters, as well as its tall, backward-angled command tower. Overall, it was roughly equivalent in layout to the more famous Imperial Star Destroyer that would come to dominate the galaxy around 4,000 years later. In fact, you would be forgiven for thinking the Interdictor was a sibling to, or dollar store version of, the ISD, as other than the more organic shape of the Interdictor, they are aesthetically very similar. I have always thought that the ships and technology in the Old Republic era were way too similar to those of the Clone Wars and Original Trilogy eras, with direct visual analogues to TIE fighters, clone trooper armor, star destroyers, and basically every Star Wars icon. Almost none of it ends up feeling like it belongs almost 4,000 years in the past. Almost none, except the Interdictor. This ship, with its blend of both familiar and alien shapes, really sells itself as being from the distant past in a way that very few of its contemporaries managed to accomplish, at least in my view. Specifications. The Interdictor-class cruiser was a relatively large warship for its time, at 600 meters long by around 205 meters wide and 156 meters tall. Its top atmospheric speed was unknown, but I doubt it was intended for atmospheric flight. It was equipped with a Class 2 hyperdrive, plus a Class 9 backup. Despite its size, it was somewhat lightly armed, with only 5 medium turbolaser batteries and 6-point defense laser cannons. However, it made up for its meager firepower with 3 tractor beam batteries and 4 gravity well projectors to ensure its targets would not escape. Additionally, it was also possible to modify an Interdictor to include more weapons. The most famous Interdictor, the Leviathan, lost 1 turbolaser and 2 tractor beam projectors, but replaced them with an added 20 quad laser cannons and 2 ion cannons. The Interdictor class could also carry a sizable complement of fighter craft. It is unknown what the Republic outfitted their Interdictors with, but Sith Interdictors carried 48 Sith Interceptor starfighters, 2 shuttles, and various support vehicles. The Interdictor required a crew of 5,224 and could carry 3,600 passengers, 11,000 tons of cargo, and 3 years of consumables. Its price was unknown. History. The Interdictor class was first put into production in 3,963 BBY. They were built by Republic Scinar Systems at Corellian shipyards for the Galactic Republic, but the class would soon change allegiances to serve the Sith Empire. In 3958 BBY, Captain Saul Karath of the Interdictor Leviathan defected to Darth Revan's Sith Empire, bringing the ship with him. Revan took the ship to the ancient Rakatan superweapon known as the Star Forge, which was able to replicate it and mass-produce hundreds of knockoff Interdictors for his war efforts. Sith Lords Revan and Malak used Interdictors as their flagships throughout the Jedi Civil War, and production on the class ended when the Star Forge was destroyed at the end of it. Some Interdictors survived to be used in Darth Nihilus's fleet during the First Jedi Purge, and fought in the Battle of Talos IV. The ultimate fate of the Interdictor class after that, especially those produced by the Republic, seems to have been lost to history. However, thousands of years later, Kuat Driveyard's engineers would take inspiration from the Interdictor when designing the Imperial Star Destroyer and other ships like it, and Republic Scinar Systems' successor, Scinar Fleet Systems, would even produce a new model of Interdictor cruiser for the modern era. And that's everything there is to know about the ancient Interdictor class cruiser. Let me know what you thought of this ship, and what you'd like to see next in the comments. Also, let me know if you'd be interested in seeing me stream playing Knights of the Old Republic for the first time someday. Despite having strong opinions on its ship designs, I haven't actually played it before since it's nearly as old as I am, and I think that would be a really fun idea for a stream since I've heard it's one of the best Star Wars games ever made. I mean, I guess that doesn't really mean much to me as I haven't played any of the others either, but it sounds like a good place to start. I know I've mentioned the possibility of streaming before and haven't followed up on it, but I feel like this would be easier to get into than 3D modeling streams. Those are still on the table too though, I just haven't gotten around to it. So if you'd be interested in seeing me play that, let me know what day of the week and time of day you think would be best to schedule streams. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you next week. RFC, out.